So let's just dive right in, shall we? So, as everybody knows, this last week, we've had. I will before we do dive in. I have a couple of major announcements, but I will hold off until, or at least one major announcement, but I'll hold off until the end of the show. So, as everybody knows, there's this little movie that came out this last week, and it did fairly well for its opening weekend. And I'm referring to Fast X. Fast X has been, one of those things that has just everybody was looking forward to it, taking the, you know, uh, taking not only this franchise by storm, but just the movie theaters for this last week and everything else. It made a respectable $67.5 million and over $320 million globally. And we're going to be getting to a piece a little later on about how this might actually turn a profit. Even if it's a small one, it might actually turn a profit. And the reasons why it struggled. So, but before that, there's some bigger news here, and that is that Vin Diesel, okay, had come out and said that they're actually working on spin-offs, if you can believe that. So they're actually looking at female-led spin-offs. So this comes to us from Variety, and the headline reads, Vin Diesel says Fast and Furious spin-offs are in the works, including a female-led movie. So, FYI, guys, anybody who's not seen Fast 10, this does have spoilers, so I want to be explicitly clear about that. Please make sure you know that. I will put it in the description. There are spoilers in this article. Vin Diesel says spin-offs of the Fast and Furious franchises are already in the works, including a female-led installment. I started developing the female spin-off in 2017 with other spin-offs, and the sooner I deliver the finale, the sooner I can launch the spin-offs, he told me Saturday at the Charlize Theron African Outreach Project, CTAOP block party. Fast 10 is one of the first of a two-part ending, but it's, quote, bittersweet to think of it as a finale, end quote, Diesel said. In an interview on May 12th at the Rome premiere, he teased that the ending might be spread out over 3 films, and we'll get to that in a couple of minutes. Look how many characters and great talent there are in the movie, Diesel said of the possible 12th film. There is no way I could pull this off unless I had everyone in for 5 seconds. These characters are appealing and we need to see more of them. Fast 10 features the shocking returns of Giselle, played by Gal Gadot, and Luke Hobbs, played by Dwayne Johnson. Diesel admits it wasn't easy keeping the cameos a secret. I'm so excited to have them back home and even more excited to see fan reaction to see how it happened, how happy it makes people. And we'll get to that in a couple of minutes too, because there is a whole other story behind that. Earlier on the red carpet, Fast X co-star Michelle Rodriguez revealed that Gadot had shot cameos for earlier films, but didn't make the cut. We had shot other things a long time ago that may not have fit that specific movie, the finale, Diesel said. Doing tags is a very tricky thing because you're great talent, but at the same time, you want to be very careful to maintain the same emotional state of your audience at the end of the movie. So that's what you're juggling. Rodriguez says she isn't sure if she'll sign up for the spinoffs. You pass the baton on. You take the back seat, she said. You go passenger side. When it comes to the next generation, you have to. It's the only way to let them define a future. Diesel and Rodriguez were among the 350 guests at the CTAOP benefit who helped raise more than $900,000 for the organization's work supporting the health, education, and safety of youth in South Africa. The evening included a performance by drag queen Lux and Selena Ititz. Unfortunately, Charlize had to bail at the last minute because she tested positive for COVID. Excuse me. The CTAOP block party held at Universal Studios Backlot was sponsored by Dior, CAA, Bloomberg, with additional support by Whispering Angel and Stellar Arton. Okay, let's talk about all this because there's a lot to digest here. Number one, the thing is that this is him speculating that he wants to do this across 3 films. Anybody who is relatively knowledgeable about box office stuff, and we're going to have a guest on tomorrow that does, and I will talk to you about that at the end of the show. Um, the fact is that this budget ballooned to $340 million for a number of different reasons. This is barely, and I say barely, might turn a profit. Okay? Might turn a profit. If this does, it will be shocking. I cannot see this spread over 3 films. I just can't. Okay? Because number one, you're talking about budgets. Number two, you've got to talk about scheduling for everybody coming and being available for this. Number three, are fans really going to react? Or are they basically done with this? And I mean, this franchise has been going on now for 21 years, 22 years. I think people are kind of finished with it. If this was supposed to be the end all be all, this was supposed to be a part one and everything else, it just didn't. It didn't work for me, at least. I mean, yeah, as I've said before, this is a turn your brain off, have fun popcorn movie. That's it. Um, as far as Rodriguez not coming back, okay, I think, and this is just me, and I'd love to get your thoughts out there, guys. For me, she's a staple of this franchise. She was one of the 4 original cast members that signed up all those years ago. Okay, it was Vin Diesel, it was Jordana Brewster, it was Michelle Rodriguez, and it was Paul Walker. That was your core group of people. Everybody that has been brought in, okay, whether it's Gal Gadot, who's pictured there, or Brewster was one of the original 4. You have Nathaniel Emmanuelson, okay. Here you've got Charlize Theron. I mean, so the fact is that I think you have to have Michelle Rodriguez in order to make this work. You have to, because she is a vital asset to this whole franchise. And when she said she's not sure about it, I don't think this would do as well as it could if she wasn't in the picture, literally and figuratively. I just don't think so. The fact that he started developing this in 2017 is also interesting, okay? Because, that's when I want to say it was Fast 7 or Fast 8. It was one of those films that came out that year, okay? That being said, I think, look, I'm on board for this, okay? I am totally on board for this film, okay? I think they should have done this with the Avengers. That would have been $1 billion film, but that's another discussion for another time. This could be $1 billion film. My problem is, if you're going to develop this, okay, because don't forget, when he says I've developed this is his IP, okay? That's why he got paid $20 million for this role, okay? I will go off on a tangent. The fact that Rodriguez got paid only $2.5 million blows my mind. But beyond that, I don't think you can make this without her. I'll be absolutely and completely honest. I don't think you can make this without her. And if you try, and even if you get everybody back, I mean, let's say you get a Gal Gadot. Let's say Charlize signs on. Let's say Jordana's in. Let's say, Nathaniel is in. Everybody's in. I don't think it works. It doesn't have the same gravitas because you don't have that core person there. And so I think it might be successful, but in the grand scheme, and then there's a whole other thing, villain and everything else, because you can't make this as just a standalone. You can't make this like a Hobbs and Shaw. You can't. can't do it. Okay, even Hobbs and Shaw had their own villain, right? I can't see that they're going to do this without Rodriguez. I can't. And if that's the other thing. I mean, this is another topic for another time, but it's taken this long that we're finally getting a female-led Fast and Furious film. This wasn't done 10 years ago. I don't understand it. Nonetheless, the fact that they are developing it, the fact that they are even talking about it now is good. And I once again, I think if Rodriguez doesn't sign on for this, and even if you get everybody else, it's not as successful as it could be. Anyways, guys, what do you think about the news about Vin Diesel, developing a Fast and Furious spinoff for women? Do you think if Michelle decides to come back that it would be successful, or do you think if she doesn't come back it won't be successful? Would you go see a female-led Fast and Furious film? Who do you think the villain should be for this kind of film? Leave me your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll get back to everybody.